So welcome back, and here we are again fixing my VW Lupo that I paid just £221 for. If you've been watching the previous videos and following the progress of this car, then you'll know financially I'm a lot more into it than what I initially paid for it, and you'll see just how far this car has come already. If you haven't watched the previous videos, go back and take a look and you can see how far it's come and what I'm dealing with. So in the previous video, I set a goal to get this car ready by Friday the 17th of May to get this car to the Lupo meeting in Caffine and Machine. It is currently Monday the 13th of May. The weather is absolutely soaking wet and I got some big fixes to get on with. So over the weekend, I was very lucky. We had some really nice dry weather. So I used that time wisely and I cracked on with the Gearbox shaft oil seal, which obviously is a common problem on these cars. So let's jump to the clips and I'll show you me tackling that. So the car is in the air and it looks like the oil is leaking from there. That is the shift rod, that is the shaft seal. I mean, it's not really leaking right now because I think all the oil has come out, but we will undo that nut and see if that is what's causing the problem. So I'll try and show you what I've done. To change the gearbox oil seal, you've got to undo that nut there with the car in first gear so that the shaft is in, and then take it out of gear so you can get that away, and then you've got to drain the oil. So to try and clean out that, so we're now going to drain the oil from there. So the underneath of this car is so filthy. To drain the oil, I literally need to pull dirt out of that drain plug there. Top one, for filling, fine. Bottom one, full of dirt. Okay, so gearbox oil is all drained. Put the gearbox plug back in. I'm now going to move over here. Get the seal off of the end of that shaft, clean that shaft up, put the new seal in, and I'm going to try and film it while I do it all. So let's see how that works out. Okay, that took a very long time. I went through multiple tools and ended up having to go buy a set of pick tools, but the old seal is out. So I'm just going to clean up under there with a bit more degrease, WD, and make sure there's no dirt or debris in there. Put a little bit of oil on the new seal and pop that one in. So I didn't get much of it on film because that was a lot of effort and it's really hard to film under there. So let's go and get that in. New shift seal is on. You can just about see it there. I'll put that back in, so I'm just going to hand tighten this and then I'll do that up to that 10mm there to connect the selector back, and then I'm just going to give a good clean under here just to make sure I take off all that oil and that dirt, because there's so much dirt been dropping on me. But if I can take off all that oil and give it a clean, I can make sure that that is no longer leaking, and hopefully that has fixed the gearbox leak problem. Now for oiling, you've got to get that plug there. You just squeeze those two clips together, pop them out of there to give yourself a bit of room. 17mm hex nut, and then we'll go from there. Oil refill thingy is out. I've got, it's not the most official bit of kit, but it should do the job. Hose pipe through a funnel. I got my oil down there, so I go down through the engine bay. With this out here, we're gonna pop that in there, and then we're gonna fill until that leaks. Okay, so didn't really film that going in because my tripod's not tall enough to get it, and I've only got two hands. But the gearbox oil is in. It swallowed the whole 2 litres without any spillage. So was that enough? I don't know. Online said 1.5, so I'm assuming that was enough. But let's get her button back up. Okay, so shift rod shaft seal, gearbox shift rod shaft seal is now changed. Gearbox oil is changed. First ever. That is the most technical thing I've probably ever done on a car. That was not easy. I mean, it was easy once I had the right tool, because that pick tool make it a hell of a lot easier to get that shift seal out. But yeah, not easy to do. But one job, big job done. Hopefully, when I check tomorrow, there is no oil leaking underneath there. I'm gonna give it all a good clean down now. So now, it is the day after I've changed that gearbox oil shaft oil seal, and nothing. There is no gear oil leaking from under there. So hopefully that is now fixed. So with that issue out of the way, I decided while I was dealing with it, I was going to do the rear spring spacers to stop the wheels rubbing on the rear arches. So let me just go ahead and show you what we did with that. Okay, well, while I got the car in the air, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fit these spring spacers I got off Amazon. Because the rear springs are quite low and the wheels are rubbing on the arches. So I'm going to fit these spring spacers. I know what you're thinking, brother, spring spacers, but it needs to be done because I am not buying a whole set of new springs. I appreciate you probably couldn't see most of that while I was fitting it, but they literally just sit on the spring like that. They got like a guide that hugs the top and the bottom to make sure they don't fall off, and obviously once the pressure is on the rubber, it's not going to go anywhere. But you know, it's not a massive difference. It does take off a little bit of height. Obviously that compresses a bit. I think it takes off about 18 mil, I think these were, or 16 mil, so it's just enough to stop them wheels rubbing on the arches, hopefully, so I don't shred up the tyres. So the driveway slopes a bit better this side, so hopefully you can see more about what I'm doing. So as you can see now, they're nice and compressed in there, they ain't going anywhere. And over that side. And they should just take a little bit of the shock out of it and add a little bit of height, so hopefully just enough to stop them wheels catching. Still not the right weather to be doing this in, but I'm going to go ahead and fix the window switches. I'm going to pack 2 of these off eBay for about 6 quid, 8 quid I think they were, something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and throw them into the door. The new switches are in. Didn't really get that much on film because of the rain and just being awkward, but they now work. Fantastic. With those fixes done and out of the way, there's only a couple of things left to handle on this car, and one of them I have no other choice than to do it today, because otherwise the car is not going to be ready to go off for an MOT and definitely wouldn't be ready for Friday. So I got no other choice. I've got to do the front shocks in the rain, so this is going to be fun. So they're still absolutely pissing down with rain. Got the top mount bolt off, had to use some oil grips and an impactor with some help from my mate Dan. Hi Dan. Now to get the bottom off. Nice to not be doing the work for once. And with a little bit of effort, that is one brand new second-hand shock, spring and top mount fitted. Success. Okay, so both sides are now done, all buttoned up. I am absolutely wringing wet, so nice one Dan for helping me with that. Couldn't have done that without your tools. I said I done it, Dan done most of the work, but it's done. Okay, so it is the day after now. Everything that I can fix is fixed. This car is about to go off to have the exhaust middle section replaced and an MOT done. So let me just quickly show you the exhaust middle section, because it is blowing and leaking. So if you can hear it blowing under there, I mean, that is the exhaust box. It's pretty nasty. It's not really leaking a minute, you can't see it, but is blowing a good one. So there's been a new and unfortunate development with the Lupo. Obviously it's gone off to the garage to have the exhaust fixed, but while I was driving into the garage I realised that I actually no longer have reverse gear. So even though I fixed all the other problems with it, the one thing I didn't fix was that stiff gear shift, and it seems to have gotten worse. They've had a little look at it in the garage, and it's now, because it's so seized and rusted, it's now stuck in first gear, so I can't even get it home. So they had to disconnect the linkage, and it's sitting at the garage on ice until I can find a replacement shift mechanism. If I can't find one, then hopefully they'll try and repair the existing one, but right now the Lupo's up in the air, which obviously means if I can't drive it and it's not MOT'd, I cannot drive it to the Lupo meeting at Caffine Machine, which is supposed to be tomorrow. So unfortunately I failed on my plan, but it does mean there's going to be more videos to come with the Lupo, because obviously it's not finished, it's not ready for the road, so there's still more work to do. So I'm going to have to end this video on that unfortunate note, but I'm hopeful that we'll be able to fix it and still get the Lupo on the road. But for the time being, I'm going to crack on with the bike, get that thing cleaned and hopefully sold, and get some money back in the pot towards some more projects. So thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for more.